You know how sometimes you're looking at a text and there's just one tiny little mark, a single letter that seems to change everything? Well, in Quranic Arabic, the letter lam is one of those keys. But here's the thing. It's a bit of a master of disguise, and today we're going to unmask its secrets.
Okay, check this out. On the left, you've got liyaktuba, meaning so that he writes. And on the right, liyaktub, he should write. Look closely. The only difference is that tiny little vowel at the end of the verb, but the meaning, it completely flips. We go from explaining a reason to giving a command. That one tiny change can alter the entire meaning of a verse, and that's the puzzle we're here to solve today.
So how in the world are you supposed to spot the difference? Well, think of this little explainer as your personal detective's guide. We are going to build a simple, foolproof toolkit that'll let you tell these two lams apart every single time. I promise, by the end of this, you'll be cracking these grammatical cases like a pro.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by profiling our main suspect, the lam of command. Then we'll introduce its tricky lookalike, build our detective's toolkit, and then put it all to the test on some real Quranic verses. Finally, we'll wrap up with the key takeaways. Sound good? Let's dive in.
All right, first up, let's get to know our main suspect. In Arabic, it's called Lam-e-Amr, which literally means the lam of command.
So Lam-e-Amr basically translates to should or let. You use it when you're telling someone who isn't right there what to do, the third person, like he should do this or they should go. Or even when you're including yourself, like let us begin. Now, grammatically, its signature move is that it forces the verb into a special state called mejzoom. That might sound complicated, but it's really just the jussive mood, which is, a fancy way of saying it's the command form. Okay, so here's where the plot thickens. Our Lam-e-Amr has a lookalike, a near-identical twin that causes all the confusion. This imposter is called lam-at-ta'lil, the lam of purpose.
So here's the fundamental difference laid out. The lam of command, lam-al-amr, gives an order and makes the verb majzoom. Its lookalike, lam-at-ta'lil, explains a reason and makes the verb mansub. Simple enough, right? Well, here's the catch. For a lot of verbs, especially the plurals, the majzoom and mansub forms look exactly the same. That's because they both just drop the final noon. So just looking at the verb ending, that's not going to be enough to solve this case. We need a better clue.
So, if the verb endings can trick us, how do we tell them apart? This, my friends, brings us to the most important part of our investigation. It's time to build our detective's toolkit. There's a simple set of clues that will let us solve this mystery with 100% confidence every single time.
Okay, you ready for the secret? The key that just blows this whole case wide open? It turns out the biggest clue isn't the lam itself, and it's not even the end of the verb. The real giveaway, the telltale sign, is the tiny little particle that comes right before it.
Our whole investigative process boils down to 3 simple steps. Step 1. You scan the scene for a fa or a wa right before the lam. Step 2. You check the lam itself. Does it have a vowel or is it silent? And step 3. You take those 2 clues, put them together, and deliver the final verdict. That's it.
And this table right here, this is your smoking gun. It's that simple. If you spot a fa or a wa, and it's followed by a lam with a sukun, so it makes a silent ul sound, boom, you're looking at the lam of command. But if that same fa or wa is followed by a lam with a kasra, making a li sound, then you've got the lam of purpose. This one simple rule will solve the vast majority of these cases for you.
Okay, so we've got our toolkit. Now let's put on those detective hats and hit the field. We're going to apply these rules to some real case files straight from the Quran and see exactly how this works in practice.
First up, we've got a case from Surah Yunus. The phrase is fal yafrahu. Now, the translation is, so let them rejoice, which you can hear it, right? It's clearly a command. So let's see if our toolkit leads us to the same conclusion.
Let's run the analysis. Clue number 1. Is there a preceding particle? Yes, there is. A tha. Clue number 2. What's the vowel on the lam? It's silent. It has a sukun. So according to our rule book, a fa plus a silent lam, that equals lam-al-amr. The verdict? It's a command. Case closed.
All right, on to the next one. Case file number 2, this time from Surah Ibrahim. The phrase is waliyalamu, which translates to, and that they may know. Now that sounds a lot more like a reason for something, a purpose, not a command. Let's see what the evidence says.
Okay, let's check the clues. Is there a preceding particle? Yep, we've got a wa this time. And what about the lam?
Well, it has a vowel. It's got a kasra, making that li sound. And what does our rulebook say? A wa plus a voweled lam equals lam-e-talil. The verdict is purpose, and it matches the meaning perfectly.
But what happens when we don't get those easy clues? What if there is no preceding fa or wa to guide us? Well, this is where you go from being a rookie detective to a seasoned investigator. When the primary clues are missing, we have to rely on the most powerful tool of all, the wider context.
Take a look at this sentence right here. This is great because it actually has both types of lam. The first part, Fe'l Amr, well, that's easy for us now, right? We see the fa, we see the silent lam, so we know it's a command. Let them help. But then you get to the second lam, liyanjahu. There's no particle in front of it. So is it they should succeed or so that they succeed? The context makes it crystal clear. We just heard a command, so this second part must be giving us the reason for that command. Let them help the Muslims so that they succeed. Context is king. It solves the case.
So there we have it. We've profiled the suspects, we've built the toolkit, and we've even cracked a few tough cases. Now, let's pull all that intel together into a quick reference guide that you can take with you. Here's the whole thing boiled down to the essentials. Your number one clue. Always, always check for a fa or a wa right before the lam. If you see one and the lam is silent, it's a command. If the lam has a vowel, a kesra, it's a purpose. And if you don't have those clues, your final and most powerful tool is context. Just look at the rest of the sentence.
And that's really the crucial point here. What might have seemed like a super subtle, maybe even confusing point of grammar is now, well, it's just a solvable puzzle. With these simple tools, you are now totally equipped to confidently tell the difference between a command and a reason, and that unlocks a much deeper, more precise understanding of the text.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? We've just seen how one tiny little vowel, guided by one tiny preceding letter, can completely flip the meaning of an entire phrase. It really makes you wonder, what other small, maybe overlooked grammatical rules are out there just waiting to unlock big, profound meanings in language?